Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another movie review, and this one, I have to admit, I'm gonna do the very best I can, but I gotta admit, I'm kind of have a little trouble with this one. The movie I'm reviewing tonight is the 2000 film Baise Moi. It's a French film, and for those who don't know, Baise Moi, technically it translates from French to English. Technically, it means "fuck me," or it's known in some regions as "rape me." And the film here, it's very much kind of a. This movie is very much, in the definition of extreme cinema. I mean, this, it's an interesting film. It's definitely interesting. The film is made by Virginie Despentes, who wrote the book, and that this is based off of, and Coralie Trini Thai. I'm sorry if I butcher those names. I'm really not trying to, but yeah, I watched this movie and it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. I had heard rumblings of it before that it was a rape revenge film, and it's not really that. It's not exactly that. There is rape in the film, but it's not about. I mean, I thought what it was. Before I watched the movie, I thought what it was. I thought it was about two girls who get raped, and then they, go after the men who raped them and get revenge on them. Kind of something in the vein of like "I Spit on Your Grave" or Miss 45 or something like that. Especially the cover here definitely made me think of Abel Ferrara's movie Miss 45. And no, it's not exactly that. I mean, you got your two main characters. You got Manu, who is played by Rafaela Anderson, and she's just like she's hanging out with a girlfriend of hers, and then these guys come up and they just take them to a warehouse, and they rape them, the two girls. And one thing, it's like I'm gonna say right off the bat, I sure, people who've already seen this movie, they already know. So I'm not. When I say this, I'm pretty much just preaching to the choir here. But yeah, if you've seen this movie, pretty much, there's hardcore sex in here. You see penetration, so you see, things going into other things. We'll leave it at that. But at the same time, while Manu is being raped and she just basically brushes the whole thing off, and she just wants to go home and clean up, and she's gotten knocked around, she's gotten beaten and bruised and things like that. But at the same time, you have we'll see Nadine, who's played by Karen Bach, who is basically she's a prostitute, and these two they just kind of want to get away from just kind of get away from their lives. And Nadu, she goes home and she's trying to get cleaned up, and this guy, it's never really, I believe it's her boyfriend, but he's talking about, he's asking her what happened to her, so he goes and gets a gun and all this. He wants to know who raped her, and all this stuff. And she says something about you don't even ask me how I'm feeling, and all. And so she takes the gun and she shoots him. Like he wants to take the gun and go kill the guys that raped her, but rather than tell him what had happened, he starts basically calling her a slut, and you liked it, didn't you, you bitch, and all this stuff. And so she takes a gun, she shoots him in the head. And meanwhile, Nadine, she goes home, and her roommate is getting pissed off, and she's talking about like your junkie friend, he's wanting to come over here, and he comes over here, he steals stuff from us, he eats all of our food and all this other kind of stuff. And so Nadine ends up killing her roommate because she badmouthed this guy that she's hooked on. Well, so anyway, so this guy, he comes over and they're talking, and he's basically kind of telling her like, oh, yeah, it'd be great if you could go down and get me some drugs. I need some of this, I need some of that. It's great that there's a pharmacy right around the corner, and oh yeah, maybe like some money and all this stuff. So he goes to go get the drugs, and he gets shot down, and Nadine pretty much just slips out. And then our two female leads, they come across each other, and they decide that they're gonna. Well, at first, I keep forgetting her name. Manu, she, so she tells Nadine, where you, she asks her, where are you going? And she's like, I'm going to Paris, or. And she's like, well, you know what? I got a car, I'll tell you what, I'll pay for the gas. You drive us there. I'll pay for the gas. And when we get to this place, I was like, you can have the car and, go on your merry way. So, Nadine agrees to drive her. So they're driving. They kind of make a little bit of small talk, and they get to this beach. And so, Manu, she's standing there and she's telling, yeah, you held up your end of the bargain. You can go on. I'll just hang out here. And then they decide, well, you want to go out for breakfast. And so they go out for breakfast, and they're talking, they're getting more and more to know each other. And then they end up becoming basically kind of like a Thelma and Louise kind of a situation. They end up, um, becoming this duo who, they decide they're going to stick together, and they got nothing better to do. So they decide whenever they need money, they're going to kill somebody and steal their money, which, at one point they're sitting in a park. They see this woman who, this woman, she's wearing like nice clothes, and obviously she comes off like she's well to do. And so, Manu goes up, and, she starts following this girl. Nadine pulls a gun on her. They pull her around the corner, and Nadine shoots her in the face. And so they take her money. And so, the two of them, they start on this. They start off on kind of like a crime spree, and they're going around killing people, and they're, getting guys and having sex with them. And, like at one point, like they're walking up the street, and this guy comes up to Nadine, and he asks her, how would you like to feel my balls slapping on your ass? And so he turns around, looks at Manu, and, what about you? And she pulls out the gun and shoots him in the head. And so, they're just kind of going along their way. And at one point they encounter this couple, and this couple, they want to get, I believe it's like diamonds from this one guy. And so they go, and, he's like, they pull the gun on him. He's, going to open the safe, and he's like trying to talk to her, talk to Nadine. And, he's telling her, yeah, I know you're having a lot of pain and this and that. And, and so they end up shooting him. And, yeah, but I mean, ultimately they're going on this crime spree. They're killing people. And, you know, um, at one point, it's getting towards the end, spoilers, but, they pull up to a gas station. And, Manu says she's going to go in. She'll get them, coffee and sandwiches. And she goes in, and, then, Nadine here is sitting in the car. She hears a gunshot. She runs in. She sees that Manu has been shot down. And the guy, running the register has a gun. She shoots him before he can shoot her. And so she's really upset that Manu is dead. And so she takes her, you know, kind of to a beach, and kind of does like almost like a Viking funeral, wraps her up in a blanket, burns the body. And then she goes and finds a place, and she's about ready to commit suicide. And then, you have this very jarring jump cut. All of a sudden she's on the ground, and, police, have her, pinned down pretty much, and tell her not to move. And, if she moves, she's going to get shot. And, I'm sorry if I'm not doing the best job in the world, explaining this movie, but, yeah, at one point they even go into a sex club. And, they decide that they just kind of want to hang back and have fun. So they find out about this club. Well, they go into this club, and it turns out that everybody in this club's having sex. It's a sex club. And one guy comes up and tries to put the moves on Manu. And so basically Nadine and Manu just turn around, and they murder everybody in the whole. They murder everybody in the whole club. And the guy that was, hitting on Manu, she makes him grunt and everything. And she sticks the gun up his butt, and pulls the trigger. So, um, yeah. But I mean, ultimately, the end of the movie ends with Manu is dead, and Nadine is getting arrested. She's being taken in, and I'm not entirely sure what to think about this movie. To be honest, it wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. It is extreme. I really, really wish that one thing, unfortunately, it's not on the bonus features. There's, official website, theatrical trailer, official posters, press response, photo gallery, flashcard. But one thing that really, really would have been great on here is if they could have had interviews with the filmmakers and kind of have them explain their thought process, why they decided to shoot this on video. You could tell it's definitely shot on video, uh, and not like super crisp, clean, high def. It almost has almost like a shot on VHS feel to it, or super VHS almost. Um, I'm not entirely, the sex in the movie. Like I said, it's hardcore. It's explicit sex, so it's not fake. You see I'm not going to get into detail, but I mean, you get the idea. It's hardcore sex. The rape scene is hardcore. Everything else in this movie is hardcore. Let's see here. It's got extreme violence. It's been said that the filmmakers are feminists, and that's kind of representing a little bit of a problem for me because usually when I think of feminist films, usually I always think of films where you're really trying to build the female character up to make her or the girls, whether it's one or more, you try to make them likable. You try to make them redeemable characters, and you want to see them succeed, and you want to see them, like they're being beaten down by men or they're being beaten down by society or whatever, and you want to see them come out of that. You want to see them survive and persevere over everything. The problem is in this movie with Nadine and Manu, you don't care about them, or at least I didn't. Um, I don't, it's the characters. I didn't care about them. I mean, it's like on the one hand, you feel bad for them that, that like Manu gets raped, and you feel bad that like Nadine is, being used by the men that, she's a prostitute to. But at the same time, though, it's like, it's like I said, I was expecting this to be like, these girls get raped and then they go get revenge. And it's like, okay, that makes perfect sense. But the sense that these two girls basically just turn into serial killers and they just go around murdering people, innocent people who didn't do shit to them. They just go around killing people. And anybody even looks at them cross-eyed, they turn around and kill them. They go around at men whenever they want to get laid. At one point, they have this scene where they're having sex with these two guys in a motel room, and it's like I said, it's X-rated. And at one point, they get done. One guy, he goes to get a drink out of the fridge, and he tells the two girls, "I'd like to see you two go down on each other." And the girls, tell him, "Get the fuck out of here." It's like, seriously, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Go on, piss off. So he leaves, and then the other guy, Manu tells, basically motions for him to go have sex with Nadine. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of extreme films, you like movies with extreme violence, extreme sex, yeah, you're gonna love this. This movie does have a fan following. It's got a cult following, and it's usually for people who like, they like their movies rough and tough. You know, they like movies that are explicit and this delivers. I mean, if you're into that kind of movie, if you want something that kind of puts you kind of an immoral, corrupt mood, I guess, yeah, the movie will do fine for that. But just like I said, if it's, like I said, when I heard that the film is made by the main characters are females and that the filmmakers are women, and it's supposed to be a feminist thing. If this is a feminist film, it fails because it doesn't make me care about the female characters. It doesn't make me sympathize with them. Um, it's like on the one end, yeah, I kind of feel bad, like one was raped, one's being used by the men, but then for them to just turn around, and go murdering innocent people, that doesn't make me like them. That doesn't make me care about what happens to them. Um, but yeah, I mean, the but like I said, yeah, if you're into, I admit I'm kind of at a loss for words here. This one is kind of one of the trickier movies I've ever had to try to review, but yeah, I mean, just it is what it is. But just I don't know. Maybe if I watch it another time or two, but it just really wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and maybe if I give it time, maybe it'll grow on me again. But for right now, it's just I don't know. I don't really know what to think about this movie. Like I said, if it's meant to be a feminist film, in my opinion, it fails at that because when it comes to feminist films, I'm supposed to care about the female characters. I'm supposed to want to see them succeed, and these two characters, I don't. I don't care about them. Once they go around and start murdering people who aren't doing shit to them, they just come across somebody who just happens to look in their direction. They decide they want to kill them, or it's like they decide they want money, so they see somebody walking down the street and they go shoot them and steal their money. That doesn't make me like these characters. It doesn't make me feel any kind of sympathy for them. So yeah, so I'm kind of like at the end of the movie, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's kind of nice to see Nadine get locked up. It's kind of nice to see Manu because Manu ends up becoming like like the real loose cannon of the two. She's the one who's like, she really enjoys the violence. She thrives on killing and stuff like that. So honestly, it's like when I see her get killed, I'm actually kind of cheering, and it's like, and that's what I'm saying. That to me is like when I hear that this is supposed to be, a film made by feminists and stuff, I'm expecting to care about these characters, and I don't. So I've seen, feminist films and movies with female leads where they make the characters more likable, more sympathetic. They make me care about what happens to them, and this doesn't. But going back to like what I said, I promise this is the last time I'm going to say it. I know I'm repeating myself, but yeah. I mean, if you like extreme sex in your movie, if you like extreme violence, Baise Moi will definitely do you. If you're the kind of person like you like having like a big horror collection, and you like having a series of extreme movies, you want like a you want kind of like a section in your movie library of extreme horror cinema, like like Baise Moi, or I Spit on Your Grave, or Necromantic, or Serbian film, what have you. Then yeah, Baise Moi will definitely do good for you. But just like I said, maybe if I give it another chance, maybe it'll grow on me. But just the first time I saw it, just like I said, just these characters, I just don't really care about them. I don't really care if they live or so. Yeah, I think that's just kind of it overall. Is I just didn't care for the characters, and I didn't. In the beginning, I started to sympathize with them, but when they, when one shoots a roommate because a roommate's complaining that her man is coming in there stealing all their food, stealing money from them, and stuff like that, and then the other, she goes and gets raped, and then the guy wants to know, who raped her. She turns around and shoots him for it. Like I said, I just don't care for these characters. These characters just don't appeal to me. So I'm sorry, but like I said, I'll give it another watch down the road. But for right now, just it's okay. It's not great, but it's for me, I'm just kind of middle of the road on this right now. It's okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. But if you want something with a really extreme feel, and that's like another thing too, though. I think that's one of the things I'm confounded by is like, why do feminist filmmakers want to make a movie with extreme hardcore sex in it? That doesn't, I don't know. Usually like when you hear about feminists making films and stuff, it seems like they kind of tend to go the other direction, and they want to steer clear of that. So I'm kind of curious. Like I say, it would have been nice to have interviews with them on here so that they could explain their thought processes, explain their decisions. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe there's something to this movie I'm not missing, or I'm not getting, or there's something to it that I'm missing or something. But anyway, that's going to pretty much do it. So yeah, we talked about Baise Moi. Sorry, I can at least pronounce it right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. There will be weekly videos posted. But until then, this is Sinema77, horror cult film lover, wishing you a good night. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.